This is the 5 Tech Things You Should Know About, episode number 96 for September 9th, 2011, brought to you by Audible.com. Go over to audiblepodcast.com/Geekazine for a 14-day free trial and free download of an audio book. We're going to talk about parallels versus boot camp. Which one's going to be best for you and your Mac? Hey everybody, Jeffrey Powers here. Welcome to the 5 Tech Things You Should Know About for you weekend warriors in tech that don't want too much information overload. Let's get into your 5 Tech Things You Should Know About for this week. We had a couple interesting news stories about people getting fired, whatever. Last week it was Michael Arrington and TechCrunch, and that drama's still unfolding. We don't know where he's going to end up standing on the whole thing, so we're just using it as a passing phase. But Carol Bartz is definitely out with Yahoo. A couple years ago, when Jerry Yang was forced to step out of his CEO position, they went looking for a new CEO. Carol Bartz brought some brashness to the CEO position, and she pretty much said what was on her mind, which was great. But she didn't really back it up with anything else. She ended up closing a whole bunch of stuff, which is great for financial means. Make sure that Yahoo says that they're on a positive number. But once you start closing things and selling things off, what do you have left to offer your customers? Now, Yahoo is big on business. They have a lot of business accounts where they really don't need that much of a consumer base. They base it on what's going on with their business. However, if they don't keep procuring business accounts and that starts to diminish, then Yahoo becomes no more. There's a lot of speculation as to what Yahoo is going to do. I still think there's two main things that Yahoo should do. One is get rid of the whole board, maybe one or two people, definitely not Jerry Yang staying on the board. Get him out of there. Get a new, fresh crew that can think outside the box. Bring back some of the stuff that they just basically got rid of or put into mothballs. And then, of course, the second thing is Yahoo is a property from 1999. When I say Yahoo, do you think of social networking? Do you think of Web 2.0? Not really. You think of 1999. You think of Saved by the Bell. You think of Seinfeld. You think of the things of the turn of the century. That means that it's time for Yahoo to go as a name. Now, a lot of questions of whether Yahoo is going to get a couple more bids coming to it. Jerry Yang has basically said, no, we're not selling Yahoo. It's not going to happen. But you never know. If Yahoo can't turn a profit, if Yahoo can't get their stuff together, we might see Google Who ever once again. It's possible. All right, we hear these stories about Facebook and back in MySpace days about people that post stuff and then they get in trouble for it, so they get fired. Well, apparently 5 people got in trouble for a Facebook post. It was actually just this mock post. It wasn't even regarding the issue at hand, but they got fired nonetheless. And a judge at the National Labor Relations Board said, this is way out of hand. You just can't fire people because they post something on Facebook, and especially out of context. So he basically said this is totally illegal, and these 5 people got their jobs back. Will they be countersuing? I don't know, but it definitely sets a precedence for you, and when you start using Facebook for your HR systems to find people that and find excuses to get rid of people. Now, I don't know if you've ever done it, if you're in the HR role, if you've looked up people's profiles on Facebook or MySpace or Twitter or even Google+, it's a possibility. And then, of course, if you've got a public profile, people see your profile and they see what you post. They see who you are. They can make a judgment off of who you are. You're technically not supposed to do that, but they do. And you could lose a job if you don't watch your words and watch what you post. So, it's how you handle your social network, if you make it private, if you make it public, and if people see it, especially employers. You could face some issues. It's the Motorola Bionic Droid. We can rebuild it. We have the technology. Anyway, Verizon and Motorola have come out with the first LTE phone in the Droid Bionic. You gotta have that Steve Austin. I don't know. It's in my contract. Anyway, the phone is a 16 gigabyte Gingerbread, Android Gingerbread operating system, and it's actually pretty expensive right now. It's $299.99 with a 2-year contract. With a 2-year contract, which means that we're talking a $600 to $700 phone without a 2-year contract. And of course, you can get the special laptop dock, so you can plug the phone in and your phone becomes the laptop. And the price for that's another $300. And you get that 5 gigabyte cap from Verizon. Is the Droid Bionic worth it? It does have a dual core 1 gigahertz processor, so you might be able to get some work done, but 16 gigabyte laptop, I don't have a 16 gigabyte laptop. I haven't had a 16 gigabyte laptop in 5 years. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what the reviews say, but right now, it's another smartphone that's come out. It does have LTE. If you've got a market that has LTE, and of course in Verizon, there's more markets for LTE than there is any other carrier out there. It should be. We'll see what happens. If it's a good phone, we'll let you know. And now it's that special event. It's the 5 things that I learned for this week, and it's brought to you by Stitcher. Go over to Stitcher.com/geek. Stitcher.com/geek. Enter in your email address. Download the mobile application for all your podcasts. It's for your iPhone. It's for your Android. It's for your BlackBerry. It's for your WebOS. Yeah, they still have WebOS. And of course, it's for your iPad, so you can download it and listen to anything. It's absolutely free. And the best part is if you enter in your email address and download the application, you have a chance of winning $100. They give away $100 every single month. So enter in and good luck in winning $100 and some other great prizes which might be coming down the road. And that's all from Stitcher.com/geek. Number 5, MST3K's Bill Corbett is trying a new experiment: create a novel based on a Twitter account. Heckler for Truth is the Twitter handle. You can read the whole thing right over there. It's 140 characters at a time, so I don't know, would you end it at chapter? Where do you put the bookmark? Anyway. Number 4, a Beetlejuice 2? Michael Keaton might be on a comeback role, or they might just get a whole different person to play the famed dead character. Maybe they could call it Beetlejuice The Next Generation. You know, Beetlejuice 2 Electric Boogaloo's been kind of used a few hundred times, so. Number 3, there were Star Trek Freezicles made from fruit concentrate? I suppose licking the Sulu one would make him say, "Oh my." Number 2, Google Offers comes to 5 more states. Now it can compete with Groupon to get you drunker even faster. And the number 1 thing that I learned this week, a friend of mine, good friend of mine, his name is Lucas Cates, came out with a video called Quarterback Copycat because he looked similar to Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. Check it out over on YouTube. Here's a little sample just for you.
He be taking hits while I've been making hits and chilling with Chet. So just a word, I know you've heard that Bob might retire. Cause fractured ankle drama queens get thrown on the fire. It's Aaron's turn to lead the pack with trust in his arm. Well, as for Brett, well, I just don't care cause it don't look like Favre. Just a quarterback, copycat. Mr. Rogers quarterback, copycat. Mr. Rogers quarterback, copycat. Mr. Rogers quarterback, copycat.
And those are the 5 things that I learned this week. Netflix has been under fire left and right. Of course, they upped their charges. They basically said you either get a stream or you get discs or you get both, and you're going to pay twice as much for both. I pretty much got rid of the discs because basically I would get a disc and I'd throw it on the coffee table, and I'd be just sitting there doing nothing. Because I don't really like to play the DVDs because I don't have a good DVD player. And I got rid of my DVD player a long time ago. I use streaming. I have the Roku 2 to stream a lot of my content. And of course, Netflix streaming is one of those things that I purchase on a monthly basis. I haven't been too impressed with Netflix streaming as of late, especially since they lost a lot of Sony titles. There's nothing new. I find some good stuff. I mean, just the other day I was watching The Usual Suspects with Kevin Spacey, and then another movie with a British movie called Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, I believe is the name of the title. And there's still good movies on the stream, but a lot of new movies you kind of miss out. Even you could get HBO and you could get Stars and you could get Showtime and watch those movies, and then you're still not seeing them on Netflix just yet. Then, of course, we're talking about Stars, and Stars' contract with Netflix basically went to a pile when they broke down on the contract negotiations. So come February 28th, when their contract expires, Stars' content is gone. Now, Netflix says, oh, that'll mean 6% of our content will be gone. But the reality is, when they lost the contract with Sony, they lost a major chunk of all their movies that people watched. So, yeah, when January comes around, there's going to be nothing there that Netflix can show, because there's going to be half of it's going to be Sony stuff, and it's gone. I did an article on what Stars should do. Stars has always been in this internet phase. They've probably the longest. Back in 2005, I remember getting Stars on my Real Player. You get the Real Player subscription. You could get Stars on there, and you could download and watch movies. When I found out Stars did live streaming, and technically it was the only channel to do live streaming without a cable contract attached to it, that was the main reason why I chose Netflix. Now, not much anymore. Why do I get Netflix? I'm hoping Stars will take it to the next level, and I talked about that on an article over at Geekazine.com. Question of, what if Stars put in a bid to buy Hulu? We won't talk about that here nor there, because we're going to talk about Netflix, and we're talking about the streaming options now. They say that they're now looking and making sure that people don't do more than one instance of Netflix. So you can't be watching a movie on Netflix on your Roku and then watch another movie on your laptop through Netflix. Multiple instances are not, they frown on that idea, but they say that they're not looking for people that are doing that, but yet they have to be concerned about it, because that is two instances open. In that case, I actually do favor Netflix. I mean, think about it. I don't create content to have you copy my content and move it over. Okay, maybe I do, but the point is that they need to pay their bills somehow. And if you've got one account and you're using multiple instances and you're giving it to Bobby to go over to his house to watch Netflix, and you're giving it to yourself to watch Netflix, and you might even be charging Bobby half the price. Is that fair? You know, one of the best ways to watch a movie is to watch a movie, but you can also read the book on the movie. I was talking about The Usual Suspects a little bit earlier. You can get that in a book form. But better yet, you can get that in an audiobook form as well. I like to read and listen to the audiobook at the same time. It keeps my attention so I can read a little bit more. So I can get books like The Usual Suspects and finish it without, going like 5 pages in and throwing the book off to the side. Of course, you can use Audible's audiobook in your car. You can use it while you're working out. You can use it while you're on the go. So you can listen to audiobooks as you're got a mobile life going, and you can do a lot of more multitasking. It's a great system. I've used it many a time, and I have many a book that I use to read and listen to at the same time. You should try it out yourself. It's a 14-day free trial. They give you a free audiobook. It's yours to keep even if you decide not to continue with the service. And you can listen forever and ever. And this is a great offer. This is over at audiblepodcast.com/Geekazine. audiblepodcast.com/Geekazine, not audible.com. A lot of people get confused on that. audiblepodcast.com/Geekazine for that 14-day free trial and free audio download. Do you parallel or do you boot camp? I have a Mac here. I have had a Mac for about 6 months, and the first thing I did when I got my MacBook Pro, this is a full MacBook Pro, it's the 15-inch, it's a 2.3 gigahertz i7 processor. But the first thing that I did when I got my MacBook Pro was I cut it in half. Well, not really in half. I didn't take a saw to it or anything like that. But what I did was I put Boot Camp on it. So basically, I'm running Windows and I'm running Mac on it. I have to reboot the computer to run the Windows side, which I kind of like. But there is another way you can do it, and that's called Parallels. And the new version of Parallels, what's called Parallels 7, is now available. So when you're running Mac and you say, I need to run an application on that I only have for Windows, you can call up Parallels, and then you run the application. And the best part is now they're introducing Parallels for your iPad and Parallels for your iPhone, so you can virtually call up a session and run an application. Now, a lot of people are saying, Parallels Desktop 7, it got a couple little issues with it, but they could probably work those little things out. It's an $80 product for your desktop. And if you've got a Mac, whether it be an iMac or a Mac Pro, and you need to run an application that doesn't have a Mac version for it, this might be an option for you. So upgrading to the new version 7, you might want to check all the reviews and make sure that it's something that you can do, that your programs will run properly on it, But they do say that it runs faster and it runs better than Parallel Desktop 6. Now, once again, I say I actually do Boot Camp, which works for me. And the best part about doing Boot Camp is that in Parallels, it's an operating system that runs on top of an operating system. And if I need that full i7 processor, operating system that runs on top of an operating system is just not going to cut it. It's actually going to slow things down. So I like to actually boot the computer over on the Windows side. It really doesn't bother me too much. And actually, in all reality, I like the speed of my Windows 7 desktop. And I probably run Windows 7 about 80% of the time, and that's Windows 7 Pro 64-bit, as opposed to my Mac side. I got some software on the Mac side, and I do certain things on the Mac side, and I flip back and forth a lot. But a lot of the times, you'll find me, if you see me out there with my MacBook Pro, say, what operating system are you on right now? 8 times out of 10, I'll pretty much say Windows right now. Will that change? It's possible if I find more programs and getting more use into the side of things. But right now, I enjoy what I do, and I know how to use my computer on both ends, and I can run it. Of course, that is the 5 tech things you should know about. Of course, this Sunday is September 11th. 10 years after the tragic Twin Towers incident. I know where I was. I was actually driving up north to do a Windows NT install, and we got the news at about 8 o'clock, halfway on our drive up. And then we found out at lunch how the Twin Towers fell. We heard about it during the day because it was on the radio all day, but then we actually got to see it at lunch when we were near a TV. It was a horrific day, and one that I can remember almost as clearly as today. And it's amazing how we've changed in 10 years, how we've gotten better in 10 years. So it's a day of reflection, and I hope that you take a few minutes out and remember those that lost their lives, helping other people, trying to save other people's lives, and of course all those people that were just pretty much victims to this horrific incident. Like I said, this is the 5 tech things you should know about. Thanks a lot for watching. We will be back next week. We're going to TechCrunch San Francisco, but I should be back on Thursday, create another 5 tech things you should know about. It might be a day late. We'll see what happens. Depends on how much content I have to actually create from San Francisco. So for the 5 tech things you should know about, my name is Jeffrey Powers. Got a question? Twitter me at Geekazine, or geekazine@gmail.com is my email address. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening to the audio version, and we will see you next week on the 5 tech things you should know about. Take care.